Clean. Well, yeah, I'm walking for several. You've got several hours to do. Yes. Yes, you are on the edge of. You had just come up to where you think you're going to be needing to cross the frozen rivers, and you know that you still have a couple of hours to go. It's quite cold. As I said, Aldrin, you are currently suffering a level of exhaustion, which means you have disadvantage on ability checks until you can warm up a little bit.
By the way, do I have exhaustion? Because I know I got really cold, but then Fionn held me.
You, we're not there quite yet. Yes, but you do have one level of exhaustion right now. But on the next time around, your DC will be higher because you're in a papoose of Fionn's making, and the body heat is definitely helping. You're within the cloak and everything. Like you've got layer on layer of comfort. Fionn is at risk potentially because he no longer has the gauntlet of, or rather the bracer of warming that is now on the space heater known as Philbin, who is keeping both Lee and Torin warm on the goat. The super strength goat. A lot of stuff happened, guys. All right. Yeah. So, as I said, you all were just coming into an area that seems to be the beginning of a river, using the wonderful scouting eyes ahead of was it Haverim?
It's Haverim.
Yes, Haverim, Ormus's bird companion, that for whatever reason just suddenly liked him. He was able to determine that there is likely from the vegetation and from the large river-looking thing that there are rivers coming immediately in, and you are just gone from sort of long rolling fields covered in brown dead grass and snow to an area where it's coming into more vegetation again, evergreens standing tall and very close to what you were walking through before, but with a lot more undergrowth, underbrush, I should say. So more vegetation around. Anyway, so what would you like to do? Also, I will add you haven't seen any more of these creatures yet. That's a plus. And your fast without a trace had expired a little bit before as well. So you are passing with traces, but that ain't so bad.
But I did get a nap, so I can do it 3 more times now, assuming I don't use a different second level.
Yes, you took a nappy nap within Fionn's papoose. Take me seriously. Anyway, what do y'all want to do? As I said, you're coming into a transition here. It's getting really thick in the brush because the tricky part is that Fionn, your ability, I mean, it completely counters all difficult terrain and such. Yeah, and you certainly have been. But basically, I want to know in this respect, it's while I it's one of those situations where I think I'm gonna have to call rule zero. Like I'm fine with the mountains, I'm fine with the snow and all this other stuff, but this is thick brush plus snow plus uh, this one might be a little tricky. I'd like to know how you want to break into this forest, or if you guys want to skirt around, or what. How you gonna just power through?
I think Theon would just pull out his scimitars and start bushwhacking and just kind of try and clear as much of a path as he can, considering that he's got a large goat with 2 dwarves and a half elf that's practically a dwarf, you know,
Hmm.
that has to follow behind him as well as an Aladrin. So
Oh, Aldrin, you're also princess carrying Ormus, who is blind and deaf.
Oh, okay. Why is he? How did he get blind in there?
It's not permanent.
Okay.
It's actually by choice.
Okay.
So Ormus is. I'm assuming you've seen at least something of whatchamacallit, that show, the thing with the Game of Thrones. That's the one.
Yeah. I've seen
So
something.
Ormus is going full warg right now. He's seeing and hearing through the eyes of his bird,
Oh, okay.
and you're basically just carrying him because, well, someone has to, you know.
Yeah.
He was tied to the goat, but it wasn't working out very well.
All right.
Now you can just throw him down if you like, but it was just easier for me to just have you carry him.
Yeah.
So
I'll keep carrying him.
yeah, that's fair. He's small. He's fine. As you're going along, Xion, I mean, are you using elemental damage in any way, or are you just chopping in with the scimitar mass alone?
no, just the scimitar mass alone.
Okay. Go ahead and make. What do you think would be applicable to that? Perhaps maybe a survival to know how to properly chop in on some of this growth. What's worth pushing, what's worth chopping, etc. I think that would be applicable.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. See, that would be a 17.
17 is pretty darn decent. So you're able to push into this thick undergrowth, and it's not too long. In fact, as you push through, only a matter of a couple hundred feet. Foretold River. It's honestly not that impressive. It's more like a creek. You think you could just, I mean, you can, it's frozen atop it, but you can hear the occasional bit of trickle underneath as the water passes through. It seems it's mostly just the air that's freezing it. But you could maybe walk over it. The ice will probably crack, but besides cold boots, it's no big deal. You could probably even devise a way to get across it. It's literally just like a very narrow creek, just no more than 10 or 12 feet wide.
Well, this isn't as impressive as you had led us to believe, but I still. I suppose the party's probably used to it now, but I don't like it. I'd like to test it out quickly if and no one's opposed.
Go ahead.
I can still do water walk.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, unless there's something more about, I plan to just find a branch and kind of shove it through towards the bank, just to make sure that nothing weird about this is going on. It shouldn't take me but a second.
And you're trying to poke into the ice, feel perhaps the ice, or are you trying to?
Yeah, just kind of maybe a couple of feet away from the bank. Just kind of shove through, test the depth, and Fion's worried that this is, for some reason, like one of those rivers that's not very wide but is incredibly deep.
Quite possibly. The shore itself looks to be almost oddly sandy. It's not bad. You think that compared to where you were before when you started out, it was more kind of rocky soil. It's becoming quite sandy. You think that you're near a shore, which is a good sign because you're trying to go to a shore. But it was almost a little surprising how quick it transitioned. But as you poke into the soft soil, pass through the snow and into the soft soil, feels fine. You move it forward, feels fine. You move it forward. You hear and feel the resistance as you hit ice, as you find the edge of the water, and as you tap it out, going through the couple of inches of snow further and further out, it feels okay, but no more than 2 feet out, you're able to just quickly and easily press and feel the crack, and as you just push right through the ice, it's definitely not going to hold your weight. Very light ice.
Yeah, this ain't gonna hold us. Like, it's not gonna hold me, much less Lee and crew on the goat.
Yeah,
And,
I will add too. As you push it further, if you happen to feel beyond the ice, it feels like it's no more than maybe a foot deep. At least right there it is.
Cold water's bad.
Yeah, I would agree. Considering that we're trying to travel at a quick pace, let's yeah, Molly, if you don't mind spending the energy on a water walking, I feel like that would probably be best for us.
Yeah, I got my nap. I'll be okay. And I
If
will
you-
cast water walk.
I was gonna say, if you want, I could have maybe cast Chrono Code.
I'm gonna add also canonically because Ormus, you cannot hear, nor can you see. Correct?
Yep, but they could tap me, and I'll.
Aldrin, do you think you would tap Ormus to get his attention?
I'd shake him.
That's fair. Let's go with shaking. You're gonna shake Ormus. That's fine. Shaking is fine. Slapping would have been acceptable. Pinching, holding his nose, anything really. But yeah. Anyway, they can bring your attention, Ormus. Do you bring Ormus's attention to this creek?
Yes.
Ormus, you're actually a bit surprised that there's a creek here. You hadn't seen it. You, through your large eyes, noticed, or rather through your bird, you noticed that there is, in fact, a wide river, and you all are moving towards it. This is not the river. This is some sort of a tributary. You can throw that out there if you like, information.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Well, I already
This isn't what I was
water
seeing.
walk.
I didn't even notice this. But if you want, I can go ahead, use Chrono Cold, and save her water walk for later. It should be able to freeze all of
I
it.
already did it.
The water
So-
walk, yeah, luckily the water walk does last an hour, and
Mm.
you should be able to, from your eyes, Ormus, you should be able to get to the next river and cross it in an hour.
Okay.
It shouldn't be any problem at all.
Considering what Ormus has told us, does it look like there's, say, dense tree coverage over this? Like, can I do I see any reason why he wouldn't have seen this river if he sent
Yes.
Havram?
Yeah, this is a thin creek that likely feeds into the river that he's talking about. But yeah, if you look up, there's perhaps if someone was looking from very high up, they might see the distortion of like a line of empty trees, like one might see in a roadway. But from a bird's eye view, nah, there's no obvious breakage in the trees. They grow close on both sides of they grow quite large and wide on both sides of this creek. There's no indication that it's just overgrown. You just couldn't see it.
Okay, cool. I'll let him know. I think that's what it was, and I think we should be cool. And then just go ahead and start making my way across.
All right. I'm assuming everyone else does as well. Well, which in this case would essentially only mean the question to Aldrin.
Yes. I'll
Alright.
follow.
And Ormus, are you staying in people form, or are you gonna go back on your,
Actually, could I have I entirely forget that I can do ritual spells sometimes. Could I have taken the 10 minutes to cast this as a ritual spell?
well, that's up to you guys.
Yeah.
And whatever helps.
Yeah, I think Fiona's fine with it. It's such a minor.
I'm just gonna do
Yeah.
jumping jacks to keep warm.
I will take the 10 minutes to cast this as a ritual spell. therefore saving a spell slot.
I'm sorry, what did you say about keeping us warm, Ormus?
I'm just while she's doing it as a ritual, I'm gonna do jumping jacks to stay warm.
Jumping jacks. That's perfectly reasonable.
I'm just gonna take a torch out of my pack and light a torch to keep
Good
warm.
idea.
Let me check out if Torin has anything. You can see as the ritual is being cast that it's a little bit funny. Basically, Daedric and Philbin are both just walking around perfectly fine. Just, oh man, it's nice. Almost a little warm. Magic does wonderful things. But let's see here. I don't know if Torin has anything that would really help too much. But yeah, you're able to attempt to stay warm a little bit. The extra time is probably worth it to keep it spell block. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just quickly looking over the cleric spells to see if he's got anything to help against cold. I'm pretty sure he doesn't, but create and destroy water. Oh, that might be helpful later. Yeah, he doesn't really have much in that respect. So, anyway, after the ritual is done, you all find that the snow is a little less slippery under your steps, where before it was not too bad. As you crunched in, you're able to move, but you could still feel your feet slipping around on the compressed ice, and it really it's exhausting. It's just a little bit extra effort, but this helps you be able to move a little better. As you move through and across the creek here, it's no problem at all. You get to the point where you can feel it's almost like almost akin to like a trampoline as you get to the ice, and then you can feel the ice kind of crack, and then as you kind of bounce up and down on it, it is like waves in a sense, almost like you're jumping on a waterbed. It's kind of cool. Yeah. I don't know if any of y'all had walked on water before, but yeah, it's kind of cool. Like a pool of jello.
Yeah.
I will bounce a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. This little bounce. But you're all able to make it to the other side without any problem. And you notice quickly as well that the trees just thin out more, and it just turns into sort of thicker brush with, you can imagine underneath the snow is sandy soil, just because everything is quite thin. And as you travel along, those of you that are especially good with nature might realize that this is probably dried riverbed of where before, at some point in time, this had probably been a much larger raging river, but now it's just a creek, or what was a creek. As you continue on marching, you can see that as you're continuing a straight line, it goes up into a hillside to the left, or further down to the right. Down will likely lead to the river, but up is not quite the direction you want to go. But maybe it's a little easier to travel. You could avoid the river. But of course, you got water walking, so a river probably isn't a problem. Do you want to continue course, or do you want to divert, or what?
I think Fionn would not even think about it, just continue on the straight the straightest path.
Yeah, continue course.
Understood.
Use water walk while we still can.
Yeah. You do soon come to the river itself, and you can tell it's frozen over on the top. It's quite wide, maybe 150, 200 yards, and it's got that, again, the sort of milky, almost white ice patches that are divided by deep, a kind of an off black. It's basically it's a frozen river. It's a frozen river. I don't know why I'm just trying to describe the colors of a frozen river. Anyway, so you're able to easily cross this. You can feel as you go along. Again, it feels solid at first, but then it soon comes along to the point where you can hear cracks as they spread out around you, and um, it's the goat actually that first breaks through. But as he breaks through, it's not so bad. The ice was rather thin. He's able to just climb onto the ice again, and then breaks through the ice again. And he's just on the water, and then is able to continue crunching along. Uh, let's see, shattering this sort of shell over this oddly arcane allowed, like moon bounce esque river because water walk's broken. So, anyway, you can cross this river without any problem because magic is cool.
Mhm.
Guys, I can still do more pass without a trace if you want.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think we're pretty fine. We're so far past the trouble with the bird things that we had earlier.
Well, how much longer should we have, Cedric?
He says that you're more than halfway. You're starting to get to the rivers. Almost there, probably.
The rivers? How many rivers are there going to be?
Well, one, but rivers just sort of add up. There might be a couple. We've already gone over two. But yeah, he is not entirely sure. He's not too familiar with the area from a sort of a cartographical point of view. He doesn't know how many rivers there are, but he knows that there's a lot of waterways, places to fish and things. But yeah. Anyway, he says that there should be a town coming up, probably, and then there'll be another town, and the other town is where you're trying to get. But the first town is not going to be much, mostly just a couple of houses.
Alright.
Well, towns are generally safe, so that's good.
Generally safe, yeah.
Yeah.
Not always so.
He says that this one is fairly safe. It's more people like him, simple folk. And as you march on, it's not more than another half a mile before you reach a dirt road that's been cleared through the brush, and you think as you look far to the north, and in fact, Ormus, if you are in your bird eye, you could tell the clear divisions of farmland, that there are plots that have been set out, although currently it's just white empty fields. But clearly they've been deforested, and there are small rock walls dividing everything, and a dirt path that runs roughly north to south.
Okay, cool.
Uh,
Lay any information that's important to them about that.
You think as you look further off with your bird eyes again as well, you can see that there are a couple of dwellings. You can see the occasional curl of smoke. There's people around if you needed to, or wanted to talk to anyone or even just warm up. But you also know that it's been a couple of hours. You know that it'll still be a couple hours more before the storm gets worse. But you don't know what's waiting for you at the end. It might be worth it to stop. It might not. That's up to you guys.
Yeah.
So would you like to-
Actually, Fiona was gonna ask Molly with her weather sensing spell how if she can tell how long it seems the storm she was talking about will last.
I pull up my orb again.
Okay. As you pull out your orb again, you can see that it's been about 4.5. It's been about 4 to 5 hours since you had started off from the home of Thaedric Shortwick. The orb is showing roughly the same thing as before, except the gentle snow period is much shorter this time before it goes into dark, heavier snow. And then it gets much better as the orb gets brighter again. So, judging from how much time you left, you think you probably got another 2 or 3 hours at least before it starts to really pick up. Because right now it's the occasional flake and things. The wind isn't too bad, although when it does gust, the wind chill is ridiculous. But you think that if you continue to march, if you know roughly how far you think you're going, you could probably get there a little bit before it starts to get bad. But it looks like it's going to get bad. In fact, as you move on, it changes based on location, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so wherever you are, it shows it. At the further you go, it seems like the sky, or rather the snow itself, that is moving down in this globe, when it gets to that dark time, it's much thicker globules of crystalline water, and it is probably going to be a little bit heavier here than it was further inland.
So it'll probably be worse where we're gonna be.
Probably. But it hopefully won't get worse for another 2 or 3 hours. And judging from roughly how far you knew you had to go, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 to 20 miles, and you've been going for 4 or 5 hours, you'll probably get there in about 2 or 3 hours.
Well,
I mean,
if that's the case, then I want to push, but you know, I don't want to put the party through that. Do you think? What does everybody feel about continuing on? I think with Molly's information that we can make it, but
I think pushing is a good idea.
I agree.
I vote for pushing. Although, I do think we should make a quick pit stop here to see about getting some warmer clothing.
yeah, I agree. I feel like that would be a good idea. I was going to suggest that we stop here to maybe grab a bite to eat. Maybe. I feel like we shouldn't spend more than 20 or 30 minutes here, though.
Agreed.
I think Lee would agree as well that we got to push on, but you could eat. Yeah. All right. So you notice that there are, rather, with Ormus's eyes, he can tell that there's a house relatively close to the south that's not occupied, maybe about a half a mile. But the next house to the north is looks to be about a mile. And the one that's south, I'll add, is almost southwest. It's basically exactly perpendicular to the path that you're going. So you would take a right turn, and the house to the north is basically a direct left turn at slightly northeast. And you're, of course, going basically south.
Hey, Thaedric,
Yes?
what's in those two buildings? Do you know?
Probably people. Forgive me, I'm not very social with a lot of my neighbors. I think these are my neighbors.
I guess technically they would be.
Yeah. He says that after the fire, uh, he hasn't really come to the coast too often, but he knows that there are farmers out here, a couple of them at least, and that's a good sign, though. If you're coming to the farmers, then you basically made it out of the wildwood, so That's a good thing. Probably no more big monstrous birds.
Speaking of birds, Armis, can you send your birds? Just
All right. Send him to the one that's southwest or to the one that's northeast? The one that's half a mile away or the one that's a mile away?
I'll do the half mile first.
That's fair. What are the rest of you going to do while he's flying away?
I think Fiona is just watching the what do you call it? The brush and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Being on alert.
Yeah, I'm making sure nothing's going to raid the town because we let it here or something.
I'll take some time to pet the goat because he's been good.
he enjoys the scritches. He's all super powered and cozy, and the burden of these two dwarves and an even larger meta dwarf are it's not really that bad after the bolstering given to him by the cleric Torn, and so he's fine. He's doing great. He's doing better than ever. You could see he was bouncing around a little bit when you had fun. It freaked him out at first. You saw that it took quite a bit of encouragement from Lee. I'm like, come on, buddy, just to be able to get him to go out. But once he was out there, go fine. Therdrick will point out that if we're gonna go, we might as well just go. It's not gonna get better before it gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus I'm gonna be ahead of you guys anyway. If I do see anything, then I'll be able to come back, and you guys won't even be there yet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and do that then.
All right. So, gonna go march to the one southwest, just march down the road.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. Didn't wasn't the southwest one the one that seemed to be abandoned?
That's a half mile away. None of them seem abandoned, basically. But again, the bird is looking from like a mile away. It's tough to see whether somebody's got a fire a mile away.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah, but he could see from the one that's sort of northeast. He could definitely see the occasional trail of smoke. But from the one southeast, southwest rather, maybe it's abandoned, maybe it's not. Not really a good way to tell. But
Let's definitely go to the one that has smoke and therefore signs of people more than like.
that one would be a sure bet, but it is twice the distance.
I feel like that would be our best bet, though. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's more distance, but also we know that people are there. And I feel like if there's not really any reason, as cold as it is, that people wouldn't be running fires right now.
Fair point.
Just make sure you guys let me know. That way I can.
Yeah, do
change.
you bring Ormus back?
Yeah. Shake him, bring him up to speed.
They get shit like what now?
I'm just curious, just from the image. As you all are discussing this and you're looking back and forth from one to the other and kind of squinting to try to see something, the occasional wind gust bringing up just this large, opaque white swirl as it passes through and chills on your eyelids. Some of your hair is all frozen all over the place. Aldrin, as you're carrying Ormus, how are you carrying him and how are you shaking him? I just want to know the image. I'm just curious.
I've tossed him over my shoulder now because I'm
Yeah.
carrying a torch in my other hand.
That's fair.
And now it's like I'm almost dropping him and then throwing him back on my shoulder a few times to get his attention.
Jostling him up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
What?
Well, hang on. Is it face forward or face? Is it like head forward or head back?
Head back.
Okay, that's fair.
We're going
Okay.
this way.
Oh god, dizzy now.
This way. So
All right, I'll change course.
Alright. You'll start to bring the bird around as you all start marching down this road. You can tell as well that the road itself is much more cleared compared to everything else. There's even areas where the snow melt has just gone through. It's probably been maintained somewhat, or maybe chemically controlled in some spots, or perhaps it was just warm for whatever reason, rocks underneath of it catching the sun before, who knows what. But anyway, this road is very easy travel, and you're able to make your way northeast in good time. And it's not too long. Ormus, your bird gets there much earlier. Would you like to know anything or do anything while it's there?
Yeah, I'm just gonna scout around.
Okay. As you get there, you find a small, well, not so much too small, but a relatively small, almost perfectly square cabin. It looks to be about 40 feet on each side, and there's a path running from the main road kind of diagonally through a field to get to it. And you can see that there have been a couple of, well, basically the area around it is cleared, while everything else has got the remains of plants, likely the leftover from the harvest. And there's a decent wood pile as well, and as I said, a stone chimney that is peeking out at the very center of this square house, and you can see the drifts of white smoke occasionally come up before being blown away harshly by the increasingly cold and bitter, intensity of the wind.
All right, I'll go and perch on it. Check it out from the windowsill. See if I can't see anything
Okay.
odd or strange going on in there.
You don't notice any windows. Yeah, it seems to be that as you look, perhaps there's a couple of areas that are shuttered that might, in warmer times, be open for air, but there doesn't appear to be anything in the way of a window. You can see a door and the makings of a porch, but there are no open windows into which to peek.
Okay, yeah, if there's nothing odd going on, then I'll come back, let him know it.
Okay. You all have your thumbs up. But as I said, it's about a mile away. Doesn't take too long to get there. Good 15, 20 minutes. But arrive you do. At the sort of corner of this long field, at this break of a dusty road going up, well, mostly covered in snow road, going up towards this house. Would you all like to just march in, or what are y'all doing?
I'll run ahead and knock.
Yeah.
Knock.
Yes.
All right. Do you go up to the porch alone, or does Eric go?
I'm running ahead. I don't know if anybody's following me.
I'll follow along.
Yeah, Theon will as well.
Fair. Well, basically everyone could go. So you all begin to get onto this porch. The goat just puts two of its hooves on because it's a rather small porch. But you all notice as you come to it that it is your standard, for lack of a better term, medium-sized humanoid kind of proportion house. The door is of a comfortable size, and the roof appears to be sufficient for most of you all to stand comfortably.
Not halfling sized.
Not halfling size. Yeah. Which is a change, going from gnomish size to halfling size to now this size. Perhaps even a welcome change. So, Molly Mort, you give the door a knock. In what manner do you knock?
Good knock, 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 knock.
For a moment, there's silence inside. In fact, before that, there was also silence inside. But it takes a little bit, but you hear soon the almost like a, not really clunk, but you hear footsteps on the other side, booted steps on wooden floors. And soon the door is opened a bit of a crack and then quickly closed again. Then from the other side, you hear, "Blimey, that's cold!" And then
Yes, we know.
the door opens again, and a fellow that seems to be about 3 layers thick. Well, after a moment, I should say, the door opens again, and a fellow that seems to be about 3 layers thick in fur coats, and but you can tell from the boots, but like nothing from the coat to the boots. Probably not a lot under. Anyway,
No pants.
he quickly comes out of the door and closes it again and looks around and goes, "Who are you all?" "Yes?"
Weary travelers.
"Well, you'd have to be. What can I do for you?"
Well, I look around at everybody else.
Therdrick holds up a hand and says, "Oh, neighbor, we're heading to the Temple of Sheila, and it's a bit cold. Would we perhaps be able to warm our beaks by your fire?" He looks down and goes, "Sure. Should have said so." And he quickly opens the door and is like ushering you in, like, "Quick, quick, quick."
I am quick.
Do the rest of you enter with haste?
Yeah.
Yes.
The goat,
Please pardon the goat.
the goat gallops in, and you all find yourselves occupying easily 80% of this person's living space. It is virtually entirely filled to standing room only. There's a couple of pieces of bare furniture. One whole corner seems to be devoted to bags of some kind, like sacks, I should say. And there's a large hearth in the middle that is broken up in such a way that it seems to be emitting heat into the main room here, and then 2 side rooms, and one with an opening, or rather with an open opening, and a lack of a wall. Seems to be a kind of kitchen area, where the other side of that hearth is acting as a sort of stove or oven, and likely the other room is a living quarters, a bedroom of sorts. It's rather chilly in here, and you can see that the face has been covered up somewhat on this side. So likely he was reflecting the heat into the living area and was just in his bedroom, just staying warm. So he removes the cover and kind of looks at you all and nods, and he's just looking over the variety of individuals that just into his home.
What race does he appear to be?
He appears to be an elf.
Would you happen to maybe have sort of, I don't know, thicker, extra clothes that we could perhaps purchase from you, or thick blankets or anything to help us make the rest of our journey? It seems a bit of a storm is coming.
Quite a storm, and I pull up my orb again.
And
Right.
that as well as perchance food. Again, that we'd be willing to more than willing to purchase from you. We've just been traveling since this morning and haven't stopped for a meal since.
He seems to stop ignoring, or rather, to stop listening to Euphion as Mollymort holds up the orb, and that seems to absorb most of his attention. And he kneels down and he looks at it, and he says, "What's this thing?"
It's magic. It shows what the weather's going to be in the next day or so.
Fascinating. Very useful. No, I don't have much in the way of extra clothing, especially not for all of you, or even for some of you. And he kind of like looks up at Fion and Aladrin, seeming to imply that nothing he has would even come close to covering you all. But he says that you're welcome to warm yourselves, and he's got plenty of fresh milk on the stove in the kitchen to quench your thirst and help warm your insides and whatnot. But yeah,
Your hospitality is appreciated. I have a gift to repay your kindness. And I hold out. I have 2 flasks of oil. This one's some kind of animal, and this one's some kind of nut. I don't know. I kind of found them, but I feel like you'd be able to get more use out of them than any of us. So, would you like them?
he takes them and he says, "Sheila's blessings. Thank you very much. I will put them to good use. I'm sure they are well preserved." And he heads into the kitchen and puts them down and comes back with a pot that has a ladle in it. It seems to be steaming, and he offers it to whomever to drink to warm up. He says, "If the storm is getting bad," um, he looks around and says, "You all might be able to take shelter here. I apologize, I don't have much of a home here. But if you're trying to make it to the Temple of Sheila, it's, well," he starts to think, and he says, "Well, if you go quite a ways north, and then again east, and then south, it'll take you a while to get there, actually. In fact, where did you even come from? This isn't, I'm not, how did you even, why are you here?"
I point over to Theodric. We came from his house. I guess, being so distant, you don't really know your neighbors.
Yeah, Cedric says that he's from the other side of the Wildwood, and he goes, "The Burning Wood?" And he says, "The Wildwood." And he nods and says, "Did you come by the road? There's more houses closer to the road." Cedric says, "No, came by way of the Wildwood." And
Would Would you happen to know who's in the other building across the road?
he says there's no building across the road.
Yeah, I think she means the one south.
Ah, one of the south. Yeah, there's a what do they call them? The little peoples and such. There's a family down there.
Halflings?
No, the other ones.
Gnomes?
No.
Dwarves?
The less little ones. Dwarves. That's the one. Yeah, they're down there. They're trying to set up a brewery. More power to them, of course.
Well,
The prime
maybe
location,
look at
really. They're right on the river. They'll be able to get some shipping in there if we really get people coming back here.
Well, I wouldn't mind stopping to visit, but we're kind of hoping to beat this storm to get to the Temple of Sheila. So you're a worshiper of Sheila?
He nods and says, "Oh, yeah. I expect everyone in this part is in some respect."
I look over to Theodric. Do,
They're just Oh, go on.
You worship Sheila, right? Is that a correct assumption?
He nods and says, "Yes, yeah. Sheila is the goddess I have a close connection with, more than anyone."
Sweet.
Yeah, and he nods and says, "Sheila's quite nice. She's does well for us at least, and helps as exceptionally well if you're a farmer." And they both nod to each other. And Cedric goes, "Pigs," and the other guy says, "Rosemary's or roses." Excuse me, not rosemary's. That was stupid. Anyway, he's just standing there awkwardly and says, "Well, again, I'm sorry, I don't have much else to offer you except a little bit of warmth and water."
Warmth is a big help. Trust
Yeah,
me. Out there, huh, boy, we were freezing our butts off.
indeed. But he says that um, that you can, if you go by the road, you just go out here, go right, and then go right again eventually. Well, go east and then south again. It shouldn't take you too long. It's about 10, 12 miles, something like that. Um,
Is there another river between here and there? Do you know?
he says, "No, no, 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 no. There's no rivers. Just the roads go clean and smooth."
Well, we may not exactly follow the roads, 'cause we gotta get there fast, and I mean, this big guy, Tiny over here, he makes it easier to travel over, even the hardest, well, not all the hardest, more difficult areas to travel. We don't really need to follow the roads, so we gotta go fast.
He says that he supposes if you just go straight through, might only be 4, maybe 5 miles, but there is another creek back behind my property, so but that shouldn't be a problem. You all were able to pass by anything else. I'm sure you can get through that.
Well, I mean, how big is this creek?
Well, it's not too big. I occasionally get some crabs down there, but it's not a very big creek. If you go further south, though, it does go into a larger river, and of course that leads into the ocean.
I really need to
Must be
make a
talking
map
about the
of this
creek that I
area.
saw.
Hmm.
I was saying that it must be the creek that I saw.
Well, you saw a large couple of larger rivers, and you all, because you went a mile north, basically gone to the point where well before this river really picks up. But if you had continued straight, you would have had a river that was even wider than the one.
So, does anybody here need a full short rest?
No,
I just need
I
a
mean
couple hours of warm.
Yeah, I
unless a
mean,
short rest can restore my hand.
I don't think so.
Here,
Yeah, it's kind of gone.
your 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 hand's fine, man. It's I'm just messing. I don't know. Anyway,
I feel like like, I feel like we should probably make our way soon after we're all warmed up.
I agree.
yeah, he nods and says, "Well, as I said, get comfortable. Help yourself to any water you may like. I think I've got a little bit of food I can spare, and I certainly appreciate the oils."
Well, I think you can appreciate them more than most people, so I mean, it's only right that you have them.
He nods and thanks you.
Well, we also have my good berry, so we're not too in need of food.
Yeah. He says, "That's quite good. I had a good berry once. It was delicious."
I, I, um, I think we have a spare or two if you want to have it.
Oh, could I?
Don't they only last a day?
Yeah, but I make them every night before bed.
But yeah, he would. You could see just his eyes light up and change a little bit. He says, "Oh, I would love a good berry. My grandmother used to make them. They're delicious."
I give him a good berry.
He You can tell he just waves it under his nose like a wine cork, which of course they're like it's a sealed berry. It doesn't have much of a scent. And he brings it close and holds it. Have you ever seen that video of kids not eating marshmallows?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of like that where he's just like he's got this little berry and he's bringing it into the teeth and the mouth is open and you can imagine he's in his brain he's reliving all of the experiences of it and he wants to bite it so much but he doesn't want it to be over that soon and so he's just savoring it, teasing himself with this berry. But soon he pops it in and you can just see his eyes close and he just almost like hugs himself and goes, just like grandmother made them. Thank you very much.
Theon pulls out a car and asks, "I'm
He shakes his head and says, "No, help yourself. Would you like some rose?
would I like some what?"
Rose petals. They help flavor. I'm a flower farmer."
Interesting. If you wouldn't mind, yes. What can I possibly pay you for them?
He shakes his head and he says, "No, no, it's fine. They're left over from season." And he hands you a small pouch, and inside are dried, crushed, blood red flower petals, essentially. And you can basically have them there. And he says that you can add them to drinks, teas, and that's really nice. You can smoke them. That's really nice. You can eat them, but they don't really do too much. They're a little bitter. But don't smoke too much now. That shit'll fuck you up.
All right
I
then.
I'm gonna quietly start making rose flower crowns.
you're you're able to find the basically the what he seems to have left over is mostly from his own personal stash. But to some respect, there are a couple of petals around, but it's not a tremendous amount. I don't think. Well, or wait, are you generating the flowers yourself, or are you trying to use his?
I was planning on generating the flowers myself, but I don't think you can technically do that with Druidcraft.
Not within a cabin, probably not. If you were
Darn.
outside, perhaps. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, he hands you this, and he says that you can help yourself as much as you like. That yeah. Anyway, you got that. But yeah, they are not toxic, but anyway, it'll give you a buzz. So
Don't get addicted to those roses, Beyond.
Trust me, I know better than that. I'm not going to get addicted to them.
all right. So, but also he does introduce himself if anyone's curious. He says that his name is Larry Lightwit.
Can you repeat that?
Larry Lightwit, Lary Lightwit. Lightwt. Larry Lightweight. Yeah, and if anyone is curious about any of the others, like the Dwarven down, Elvish, or anything, it has a delay because
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, anyway, he's like I said, you can take a short rest if you want, take a long rest if you want. I don't care. And
Nice to meet you, Laurie.
Larry, it's Elvish.
Larry.
Larry.
Laurie.
Larry.
Okay, I'm done.
It's Elvish.
All right. Well,
I'm Gnomish.
He looks down at you and he goes, "My goodness, you are, aren't you?
I am.
I thought you were another halfling for a moment there. It's in the nose, really. It's not in the nose. You have no idea what he's talking about."
Anyways.
Just trying to play it cool.
Yeah, you think that this guy probably spends a little too much time with his own product.
yeah. I think honestly, this is out of here. I don't even think we should spend a full rest here. I feel like we should just 10 or 15 minutes, warm up, maybe snack on whatever rations we have in our packs, move on
Yeah.
to try and beat the storm.
Yeah.
I agree. Be here long enough to be, polite about it, but
All right. But yeah, does anyone perhaps fill up their water skins with this hot, fresh melt snow?
Yes.
I will.
Okay.
Definitely.
Theon would like to check, like, as subtly as he can and make sure that it isn't indeed rose petal water before he fills up his pack.
All right, you got me there. He may have been making some rose petal water in this container, but it seems to be mostly just water. It's like a fresh melt of snow, but there's some traces. You can smell it in there, but it seems like this isn't a fresh brew or anything. This is likely he just didn't wash out the pot before melting more water in it. Melting more snow, I should say.
Right? Then, Theon will go ahead and fill his up. With that, honestly, I feel like we should go away. I'm worried about getting there before we counter the storm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So after you've gotten canteens filled, and they're nice and warm too, so that can help you keep warm. Plus, you all have resolved any of your exhaustion issues due to the warmth. In fact, you can tell that after a little bit, Philbin is like sweating. He's so hot.
Yeah, you might want to
I'd be careful.
hand that back for a while until we need it. Need it. That thing has some side effects that aren't great.
Yeah, he takes it off and hands it back to you, and he seems to.
I'd also dry off before you go outside, Philbin. I don't want you to be coming up.
He nods and he says the words that you all perhaps might recognize as his dwarven form of prestidigitation, as he dries himself.
Hmm.
Anyway, but you all can begin your march. Do you want to continue cross country or across the road? I'm sure I know the answer, but
I would like to
Cross
say
country.
I'm going to try to subtly leave some gold there. Try to leave it there for him to find later.
I mean, I get that. I would agree with that sentiment.
What was that, Beyond?
I was just saying I would agree with that sentiment that we should leave him some sort of compensation. Can't talk today. I apologize.
you got a whole island of hippies. I'm just letting you guys know. It's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
It's not often we run. I'm sure he doesn't get guests often.
Oh, well, anyway, but yeah, if you could make a sleight of hand check. Are you just trying to leave a gold coin someplace?
I'm gonna leave like 6, just like right
6?
by the door.
Ooh. All right. Yeah, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check.
I'm trying to pick my die. Hold on.
Okay. He's got like a -2 to perception, so good luck.
That would be a 10.
Okay.
So I'm sure the whole party sees me doing it, just not this guy.
Yeah.
No, I mean he does see it. As imperceptive as he is, with a -2,
Darn.
he still saw it. But I mean he's not rude. Like, you put down a couple of gold coins and you leave. He's not gonna be like, oh, you dropped something. He's like, all right, he's gonna take them.
So he's not naive.
Yeah, exactly. He's polite. If you work in the service industry and someone gives you a tip, there's the kind that count it right away, and those guys don't make it long. Then there's the kind that are just like, oh, thank you very much, and then just put it away. Like he's just like, all right, thanks and done. You move on. Yeah, he's not naive. He's just like, oh, coinage, cool, bye. But yeah, you aren't able to march out. Do you want to head off? Do you want to go back to the road or just leave from his backyard, basically? Because
Honestly,
he said it's like right behind his house is the creek, and yeah.
if Molly is so inclined, Fionn would ask if she would mind taking the time to do the water walking again. If it's
Actually, could we have discussed this and done this while we were in the house?
Yeah.
You could have cast the ritual of water.
Yes?
Yes,
Alright, yeah, then I did that.
that's reasonable. And you're able to walk your way out quite easily. The goat seems to have made very little mess of the guy's floors. He seems quite happy that you all have left, but also quite happy that you all showed up at all. No part of him seems to be wary of drinking more rose water. He doesn't think he was hallucinating that. He's pretty sure. Is he sure? Maybe he's sure. Anyway,
We'll have the 6 gold to prove our existence somewhat.
maybe it was always there. Can anyone really have 6 gold? Anyway, so
Wow, yeah, you're right. We could have just been phantoms who helped him
exactly.
find it.
That's exactly what he would want him to think. So you're able to make your way further back. It's almost like a sheer break after you reach what you imagine is sort of the limit of where he has cleared out his area. It sharply goes down into a valley that you can tell has a creek going through it. But there's no issue. But the valley itself, you think it might be kind of tricky to get down. The goat's going to have probably no problem, but although some of the dwarves will have to get off of it, the rest of you, as I said, it's rather steep. You could maybe just slide down it. It does have snow. You could, I don't know, sled down it in some respect. Or you could go further to the north. You can see not too far. The valley kind of breaks through, but eventually you'd have to you're kind of just going out of your way. But you could maybe half a mile to the north bypass it entirely, but it's another half a mile at least.
I mean, I'm all for just going down. That does
Yeah.
not sound good.
I
Gnome said,
take off. I take off the shield that I've been carrying around forever,
Mm-hmm.
put it on the ground, and then jump onto it and start sledding down.
I need
Don't fuck it up.
1 point of clarity. Are you still holding Ormus over your shoulder as you do this?
Is he still looking through the eyes of his bird?
Only if I'm looking through my eyes at the bird. If not,
Well,
Yeah.
would you
Want
be
me to
Ormus?
scout? That's if we needed the scout. If not, I was gonna walk.
So are you?
Yeah, sure. I'll be scouting.
Alright.
Yay.
So he's just over my shoulder as I just jump on the shield and slide down.
Okay. So he's still over your shoulder.
Oh,
His face
God.
is still towards the back. How tall are you, Aladrin?
I'm pretty tall. I'm 6'6", something like that.
Okay.
6'6", 6'7".
How tall are you, Ormus?
I was thinking he was every height.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think so.
Me?
Yeah.
Like 5'7", 5.
Okay. All right. So yeah, as you just jump down on this sled and on this shield and begin to dive down, Ormus, your face is not stuck in the snow. It's not bad. You can feel your stomach oddly going in the wrong direction more so than others, or rather, in this case, going in the right direction because you're upside down and it already feels weird. But then you have this free float sensation, and then a thunk, which is odd, but you don't feel like you've been dropped. But it's not the same sort of shaking sensation that Aladrin would give you. Whatever. If your bird is close, then you could, of course, get a drone eye view of this. Otherwise, if it's farther away, just feels strange. But Aldrin, you quickly slide down this hill and find yourself fast onto this frozen pond, or rather, this frozen kind of mini river-esque kind of thing. I mean, the river itself is no more than 50, 60 feet wide in total here. A large but shallow creek. But with the advantage of water walk, you basically just continue to slide across the ice.
Yeah.
Don't unties the basket part. I guess that's the only way I can think of the rope baby Bjorn, and hands one length with the shoulder part still on. Basically, I have the rope tied around my torso and each to Molly and Thaedric on my shoulder and pull out one of my swords, kinda just to use as a like a tripod. Yeah, like a no, I'm not gonna snowboard. Like a tripod balance and just kind of slide down on my feet. You get as a like the sticks that people use when they go skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that basically.
Okay.
I'm just sliding down. I'm not trying to ski down or anything. As a point of,
That's fair.
I like to imagine that Lee has an extra breastplate that he followed Aladrin's example and sledded down on.
Well, I'm trying to think about what Lee would do. He's on his goat and he's got two dwarves. I'm trying to think if he would if they would try and walk down. The goat is incredibly talented. He might be able to do it.
I feel like Lee would get off of I think Nasher's the one he's got out now. I feel
Yeah.
like he would get off and leave our dwarven friends on and try and lead Nasher down.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. And let's see if he is successful at that, and that's a natural. So, Lee begins to cannon. Lee begins to guide the goat down as the two dwarves sit atop it. And you can see as the goat begins to walk, the goat is trying to keep its head and its back even, and basically it turns into Philbin and Torin basically laying down for this goat to try and keep stable. And it doesn't take long before Lee just slips and just tumbles and begins to turn into a large avalanche of sorts of snowballs, just um, literally snowballs, and that the snow just accumulate on them. Just gets bigger and bigger and bigger as he turns into a snowman going down. But the goat is able to maintain its footing with a natural 20, and march its way.
So fitting.
Yeah, but at the very bottom, the goat gets there fine. Lee turns into a bit of a snowman. But yeah, anyway, he's able to break free, obviously. But everyone is able to get down in there. That goat. So, crossing the river, as I said, no problem. It seems to be frozen a bit more than the creek that you were at. And this one, it doesn't break the ice. Rather, the goat doesn't break the ice until the very center. Still with Lee guiding it. And you are able to bouncy house your way to the other side. And come up the other side of this valley. But it seems to be much less steep on this side. So that's a plus. And when you get to the top, it's just low bushes and relatively flat for a long, some kind of a plateau, essentially. And but yeah, you can see quite a long ways, and off in the distance, you can see the occasional flying shape just above the horizon, and then you can spot another and another, and they seem to be way, way off, a couple of miles perhaps, but some big flying shapes out there.
Guys, I feel like I should cast Pass Without a Trace now.
I would agree with that.
I do that.
All right, Ormus, where's your bird?
Would I was gonna say, would Habram see that? Because if so, I'd have him pull in close and check it out.
Yeah, the distance. I think we talked about this before. What's the distance that you've got with Hadram?
As
Basically
far as I
anywhere,
want,
right?
as long as it's
Yeah.
the same.
Nice. Yeah, so you're able to send him. What is his speed?
I think their speed is 60 flying.
Okay,
I could double check. Real quick.
I think it's more than that. The Raven,
Ravens are 50 feet.
50 feet. Oh, I thought it was more. Well, anyway, I mean it's still decent. But yeah, your Handrick is able to make his way further out, and as he gets closer and closer and closer, the shapes keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Ooh boy.
Soon enough, you come. He's able to see, and of course, you, through his eyes, are able to see. Picture those. I just put a link in, or rather, put a picture in the game feed.
I am letting everybody know.
It has a wingspan of about 30 feet.
About how
Holy
far away
hell.
are these?
Huh? What'd you say, Mollymort?
About how far away are these?
They seem to be 2 or 3 miles easily. And as you get closer, of course, you still hear the occasional loud shriek, and it seems to be entirely coming from me. But as I said, about 2 or 3 miles away, you can just see them over the horizon. But the fact that you can see them that far, they're pretty big. But Ormus, as your bird gets closer, you can see these shapes as they swoop around, and occasionally they'll dive into these snow-covered, rolling waves. You think it's snow, perhaps, and occasionally will come up with some large wiggling creature and then fight over it on the shores. They seem hungry. Anyway, you see that.
Hmm.
Ormus?
Nope, forgot to hit the control. Yeah, I'm just gonna let everybody know. Be careful. They're on the prowl. They're hunting.
Indeed. I would like. Well, I mean, is Hadram? How close is Hadram going to get?
As close as he can to just see them.
Well, he can see them from pretty far out. I mean, what do you want him to do when he can see them?
I just want to take a look, and then he's gonna back off.
All right. If you would please, try to think. Hadram's a raven, yes, and raven form,
Yes.
a black bird, and a white-backed sky.
Yep. If they see him, I'm just gonna make him poof.
Okay. Well, anyway, so Hadram, as you said, is just coming back. Is he checking behind him? Is he doing swoops?
Swoops. Sorry.
It's just occasionally just doing a 360 just to check.
Well, it's like I was doing before, where I was just making like wide circles as I gained for more distance, and then more distance doing a circle,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gonna do that as coming back. Just kind of like still looking at the scout out.
Yeah, Hadram can tell that one of the rather even smaller creatures, seems to have broken off and is coming towards him in his sort of direction. Not exactly towards him, but in that sort of a direction.
Okay,
Away from the coast.
to have him poof. I'll resummon him later.
All right. Well,
'Cause I don't want him. I don't want him being tracked back to poof,
Yeah.
vanishes, no trace.
Indeed. And you are back with the group as the group marches across this plain. Do any of you do anything when you gain this, or do you just continue to march? You're essentially heading almost not quite directly towards them, but not away from them.
I would say
How open is this area again?
Extremely. This is almost entirely open. In fact, it wouldn't surprise you if you found a short hill nearby that you would be able to see all the way to the ocean. It seems to be very flat and very open. No trees, no nothing.
Well,
Just marching across a white field.
I'm going to keep my axe at the ready. And if one of the big birds starts coming towards us and is within reach, I'm gonna swing at it.
question: how deep is What we're going through?
It's only a couple of inches.
Oh, there goes that.
And I will add too that every time the wind blows, and the wind is much harsher now, now that it's not impeded by any kind of forest. Every time it blows, it brings up some of the powder on the ground and makes your eyes sting and clings in your hair, and just the chill is very strong. Where before you were be able to get quite a while for it, you think that this is gonna start to impede you very quickly. Luckily, you do still have your somewhat heated water bottles, and you just heated yourself up pretty well. But it's been a long day, and you think that you're going to get pretty tired out here in this cold too long. But you know that you're closer than ever to your eventual objective because you're approaching the sea, and you know that the Temple of Sheila is along the coast.
You guys, I feel like we should not fight these things if we have to, but just break from this point forward, breakneck pace.
Yeah. Fion, can you carry Oramus?
Ormus doesn't seem to need carried any.
Okay.
No, I gotta spend 10 minutes to resummon him. That's it.
Alright.
Are you
I'm
going to
gonna
take the 10 minutes?
No, please don't.
Time when we need him.
All right.
Yeah. I'm
Just
gonna
checking.
fall back to the back of the party, and if they do if it does look like they're hunting for us, I'm going to make myself look like the easiest target. You know, slowest at the back, easiest to pick off.
Fair.
Well, I feel like I feel like we should kind of sprint it from here because we don't really have the time to try and find a hiding space. We don't have the time to fight them either. Like we only have a couple of days here for our entirety of the thing. Let's, you know,
Let's go.
Let's sprint this out, you guys.
All right. You know that with the double pace, essentially, or with the added pace, you risk exhausting yourself sooner. But of course, you'll get to your goal faster.
Yeah.
All right. Is anyone? I mean, is there any passing without any traces? Any skills being active, or is anyone taking? I mean, you guys are just going, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn into a lion so I can go faster. Wait, how fast does Fionn move?
Just 30 feet.
Yeah, as a lion I can go 50 feet, so I'm turning into a lion so I can really book it.
It's so far so much that you're going way ahead of the group.
A little bit ahead of the group.
Okay.
She would at best be 10 feet ahead of Lee and I, assuming Lee's riding his goat.
10
Yeah,
feet.
I was just
per
looking for
6
his goat
seconds.
stat.
20 feet. Because it would be 10 feet per dash. Well, a
Well,
dash would get you an extra 10 feet ahead.
well, how fast? I'm sorry. Hang on. How fast is the lion, Mollymort? 50.
Yes, 50.
Okay. So you would be 20 feet if you went at your fastest sort of speed. You guys are basically making time and a half as well. So
Mhm.
you would be about 30 feet per 6 seconds ahead of the rest of the party. It'll be real quick before you're way ahead of Fion, and you would be still pretty fast ahead of everyone else as well.
Yeah. Question: as a lion, how much can I'm asking? Would it be possible for Fiona and Thedric to ride you as a lion?
My strength is a 17.
And is it a large creature or a medium creature?
It is a large creature.
Large helps. How much do you weigh, Fion?
385 pounds.
Damn.
If I may suggest, dire bears might be better.
Dire
Molymorph?
bear?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is
What
a
challenge
large
rating is
beast.
that?
Or a huge beast. It is, I think, 8?
I can only turn up to challenge rating 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
if
a
you
lot.
want
And
polymorph into
carry
it.
I will remind everyone that when you polymorph someone,
That's 6.
you turn into that creature. As in, you will suddenly have a dire bear hanging out, and not necessarily on your side, dire bear.
They retain personality and memories. They're just dumb.
Yeah, they'll know we're their friends.
Very.
Quite
Whatever
possible.
friends means to them.
Let me double check to be sure. I remember we talked about this before, and it was a bit strange.
It's like they won't.
Yeah,
It's like they won't eat their friends, but
yeah, retains alignment and person there, but you lose your mental ability scores, etc. But yeah, okay, you could if you wanted, I guess.
Let me
Yeah, and
check
they have a strength of
Horse
22,
Mule.
so I'll be able to carry just about everyone. 12 feet long.
Well,
They weigh
not,
8,000
not necessarily everyone, but
almost.
yeah, with a score of 22 and your gigantic character,
It is a large beast.
large beast. Okay. Um,
And my speed will
bear.
go up. It'll go from 30 to 40.
Seems broken that you could turn someone into a dire bear.
Was that?
I'm just curious if it's. I'm just double checking polymorph. I haven't looked it up in a while.
yeah. As long as it has the beast tag, it's fair game for polymorph.
Yep, I have looked. I was saving it just in case those giant things came after us.
The new form can be any beast whose challenge rating is equal to or less than the target's, or the target's level if it doesn't have a challenge rating. So, yeah, I mean, you're over level 8.
9.
Yeah.
So,
Level 8 or 9. One of those two.
that's pretty broken. Good to know, at least.
Yeah. Polymorph's really busted.
Yep, that's why I love it so much. And I got it for free too, which is freaking great. I didn't have to waste a spell slot.
My only question is, can you dispel it when, like, in that form?
Well, hang on. Is polymorph concentration?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would lose concentration if you're a polymorph. That's
For
why you
what?
can't polymorph yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm polymorph myself.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what we're
but-
saying is it's
but
a concentration, so you can't
Yeah.
do yourself.
You would lose concentration as soon as you're polymorph. Which
Thus
means that,
dispelling the polymorph.
yeah.
I mean,
No.
hell, if you want to, like, if Fiona is all about right now, stealth is out the window. We just need to make it there. Fiona will volunteer himself if that's a thing that we need to do. You know.
I mean, you're the hardest person to carry anyway, so that makes sense.
Well, Molymore, for the math that you gave me, at least with the stats that you have, you would be able to carry Theon and Thedric as the lion. You would be able to do it. It would be a uncomfortable ride, I'm sure, but you could do it. Also, it's extremely
my goodness.
cold, and lions are not really good in the cold. But you could. You do have the strength that you could do it.
I mean, alternatively, I could turn into a brown bear, which has a speed of 40 feet, is an Arctic creature, and has a strength of 19.
You think that would be much better because that one puts you on par with everyone else's speed, so you wouldn't get too far ahead, and it would keep you warm, and you would easily be able to hold everyone else. But
Okay, we're
then
doing.
you'd be a fucking bear.
Yeah, I'd be a fucking bear.
Yeah.
How would you lose concentration on it? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because you the only thing you keep is your personality. You don't keep your mental stats, so it would drop your concentration on it the moment you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beasts can't cast spells.
Interesting. Well, I wouldn't be casting as the beast. I would
Um,
the beast. All right.
well, I'm just trying to check though. I mean, it's a bit iffy because it doesn't say that it breaks concentration. I know you wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to cast the spell as a creature, but I'm not sure if.
I feel like if you couldn't cast as that, you maintain concentration. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like that's.
No,
Hmm.
actually, I double checked it. It has been confirmed by Jeremy Crawford himself, the head of rules. The polymorph spell does not interrupt concentration. If you cast the spell before, it can last. You could, in theory, do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I figured. 'Cause I remember polymorphing myself a while ago too.
Yeah,
I just
Okay,
don't think
who's carrying who
it
then?
came to mind.
Yeah.
The only thing is that I won't be able to cast spells. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but
If-
you'll be a dire bear.
Molly,
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
if
be
I can
running.
turn Molly into a dire bear, she can.
I cannot.
She cannot. Beasts can't cast spells.
Yeah.
But as a
well, as
druid.
a druid, no, as a druid,
Yes.
she can get the ability to do it later.
Like
yeah.
level 20.
Oh, you're not at that point yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
All right, so
Yeah, I know.
so
I think we're close though.
so Oramus is dire bear toting me and Thadric.
Or is Molly Mort bear?
I'm going bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
So
go.
we're gonna have two bears then.
I was considering turning into a bear anyways because
Yeah.
cold.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna go into dire like way earlier because they have advantage on Constitution saving throws against exhaustion.
Hey,
In
Aldrin,
terms,
Yes.
want to ride a dire bear? It's only fair. You've been carrying Ormus all day.
I'm not
I mean,
going
I'm
to
on.
because I still think I serve the best chances surviving as a distraction if they get too close.
Oh,
Well, how fast are you?
We could be
40
a
feet.
distraction together.
How fast, Aldrin?
40
40
feet.
feet.
I can run just as fast as everyone.
Yeah. You have a. I mean, come on. They've got a giant goat with all these guys going fast. You got Molly Mort carrying Theon as a bear with a halfling on top of him. Algin, you really want to be the only one not riding a
Come on,
bear?
man. Come on, you've
Come on.
earned it.
Yeah.
Ride me.
I'll ride the bear.
Come on.
Ride the
yeah.
bear.
Ride that dire bear.
I'm riding the bear.
All right. Nice. Roll initiative, please. No, I'm just kidding.
My jaw dropped when you said that.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah.
So good. All right.
Just
Uh,
try it. Somebody, since I am gonna have a shit intelligence, keep totes on the hour for me, please.
Oh, yeah.
Can do.
Thank you.
yeah. All right. So
How long does polymorph last?
about an hour.
1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah. How long does your druid shape, your wild shape last?
4 hours.
Nice. Goat shape lasts forever.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
All
Laughing.
right, so we're just golden compassing this shit, just bears through the snow.
Yeah.
Going as fast and as hard as you can. Y'all are charging like crazy across these large fields. Start to bust your way through, keeping an eye in the distance on these massive flying beasts. And they continue to stay mostly into the coast. And you know, of course, that you're moving towards a coast. Might be bad, might be good. We'll see.
I will note that my water walk will it still be up? I think so, because we just passed over the creek, right?
Yeah, it's still up for now. And you're going fast enough that you'll be fine. In fact, it doesn't really come up there. Because
Yeah.
as you continue to pass over these many hills, you eventually reach one where you crest over after about 2 miles, in fact, of just hard moving. But you're feeling good, blood's pumping, everything's going well. You reach atop as I said, a bit of a hill, and down below, you can see the vastness of this ocean and a shoreline, and you can know from Therdrick's directions before, and as he's saying them now, there's the shore. If we follow it south, we'll eventually get to the temple. At least I think it's south. I'm pretty sure it's south.
Let's go south.
Yeah. Down
All
we
right.
go.
Do y'all go south from the hilltop where you are, which is, a good half a mile to a mile away from the ocean proper, or do you go to the shore and then go south?
I would think just go directly south because greatest shot. And
Yeah.
Can somebody ask Therdrick, how far from the shore it is?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask him what's the best direction to go.
Well, he's pretty sure it's south, but he knows that the temple itself is basically on the beach, just
Okay.
back from the beach by maybe 100 yards. And that,
Coast it is then, I'd say.
Yeah.
so if you go south from here, if you don't spot the building, which might be tricky, might not, you could even miss it entirely on accident, just from behind a hill. But if you go along the beach, you'll for sure see it. But you'll also be running along the beach. You've seen these massive creatures diving into the water. At least Ormus has.
Yeah.
I vote for beach.
Yeah. I still vote for beach.
yeah,
Right. You don't see any of the big creatures to the south, which is good. You do still see those three to the north, and they don't seem to have noticed you all for the most part. They seem to be rather content after their hunting, so to speak. And since you all are making good time, it's quite nice. But even though it is only sort of early to mid-afternoon, it is starting to get rather dark. The shadows, what little there were, completely dispersed by the lighting of the clouds. It's getting kind of tricky, which isn't too bad in terms of darkness. Fine, but it's the sort of cold that's setting in. The wind is constant. It's no longer just gusts. It's all the time. But the good thing is that all the loose snow has been blown away. So you're not getting blasted with these gusts of ice crystals. It's just constant cold, which, trades, whatever.
Mhm.
As you make your way down and onto the shore itself and begin to run south further, you can see that there are areas where there are rocky outcrops. You can avoid them for the most part and move over them with tremendous power, but those of you that are especially keen in nature, primarily talking to Theon, who is likely still the scout atop the transformed Mollymort, if those big things live anywhere, they're probably going to live in maybe caves, maybe rocky outcroppings, maybe you're heading in a danger direction.
Huh.
So, would you like to break away from the shore or scout, or what do y'all want to do?
I say we push on.
I agree.
yeah. I think our best bet is just getting away from.
Do you slow down at all, or do you continue to go at your fast speed with like -30 stealth?
Well, I was gonna say my pass without a trace should still be up, so
Did you activate a pass without a trace?
I did.
When did you activate? I'm just curious. I didn't know.
It was right at was it right after or before we crossed the river?
I can't remember.
Well, anyway, if you've got pass without a trace, that helps. I wasn't aware of it, but that works. That's fine. Makes sense, and it certainly helps. I'd like everyone to make dexterity stealth checks, please. Well,
Arm slowing down.
primarily the actual people moving. So, Oramus, Mollymort, and the goat. Everyone else is, you're mostly just there.
Yeah.
With, of course, the bonus of +10. So Ormus and Mollymort, if you wouldn't mind. Goat's doing pretty well too.
14.
That's nice. Total
Yeah.
with a +4 or +10.
Yeah.
What's the bear's dexterity?
Actually, no, 13.
Oh,
I rolled a 3.
oh. But the bear doesn't have any dexterity bonus.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Ormus, you are walking on shadow. Okay.
Yeah, shadows. I'd rather be walking.
Yeah, you're doing great. There's no sound there whatsoever. But Mollymort, as you begin to climb over some of these rocky parts, you can hear the not cracking per se, but there's shifting underneath of you, and it makes a fair amount of noise.
I make distressed bear noises because I'm not paying attention.
Ruh-roh. What does the Mollymort bear look like? What's your form?
It's a very pale blue. Like, I'm kind of hoping I'll blend in a little bit, but also I want to be blue.
That's fair. Perfectly reasonable.
Not a polar bear, but still pretty pale.
Yeah, I hear you. Totally reasonable. So, this particular outcropping of large rocks, for whatever reason, seems to be an occupied nest. And by occupied, I mean like their home. And they don't seem to appreciate not one, but two bears and a bunch of other people coming along. After the crackling occurs, you can hear the loud rumbling whoosh and then more whooshes and whooshes as
I'm gonna
massive
back
wings.
off a bit.
Yeah, as massive wings begin to beat a large creature into the air. You all have had the experience of being around dragons. It's pretty similar to this, to some respects, although certainly not as powerful, not anywhere near as powerful as Mollymort was, but similar to maybe what Alondria was. But anyway, you can soon see that massive creature uh, taking flight on the other side of these various large pillars of stone. It seemed to have a nest mostly facing the sea, and it is reacting to the noise.
Mm.
Anyone got an idea? Perhaps hiding under sand? I don't know what you guys are going to do.
I'm definitely backing off. Is there somewhere I could hide?
Keep going.
Or like,
Oh no.
There's some rocks. You might be able to like run to the other side of these large rocks. Hope that it doesn't fly around. Or
Molly,
you
you and
could
I,
keep running.
Keep running. I'm gonna serve as a distraction.
I hesitantly do that.
I.
What's Ormus doing?
What is Ormus doing?
By
Backing
Alvin's
the
guide, what is Ormus
off.
doing? Ormus has an intelligence of 3 at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Big scary bird.
Molly,
Yeah.
you and I can speak to animals if you want. You think it's possible that it would leave us alone if we just kind of ran past? Like, we don't need harm. We're just trying to move fast. We'll leave you alone. Please leave us alone.
I just make distressed bear noises because I can't talk while in animal form.
Yeah, but you can talk to me, and I can talk to you rather. And
I thought you could only talk to smaller animals.
she's pretty big.
I can just the animals.
Yeah, I think Mollymort, you're the one that can only talk to all animals naturally.
I thought he could only speak with small animals too.
I don't know. But either way, you only have moments to react.
I
Need a decision of what the Aldrin Ormus bear train is doing. What do you guys?
I jump
I started backing up.
there. I jump off the bear, push Ormus forward,
Smack him on the ass.
sling off my crossbow, take a shot,
Okay, well, let's roll initiative then.
Yep,
and
I'll
start
see that shot
looking.
go, and I'll fucking charge in.
Charge in.
Yeah, I mean, if he's attacking them, they're gonna be hostile, so we're gonna have to take them out.
Yeah, but the
I'm
inn
serving
is-
as the distraction. I'm going to lead them away. I'm going to take the long way around.
Well, it's better to have somebody with you, so I'll go with you.
I'm leaving. I'm a
Out.
scared bear.
see here. Huh, I didn't do too bad.
6.
All right. Molly 6. And
I guess the dice are not with me tonight.
we'll see. Aldrin,
24, natural 20 for a 24.
very impressive. Theon,
Natural 20 for a 28.
even more impressive as Aldrin is just floundered a little. Ormus,
4.
wow.
Hey, I go before someone.
You
And
go,
bears aren't very dexterous.
you go before a lot of people, actually, as all of your sidekicks got 4 as well. So, yeah. What I try to do is break it up where all the bad characters go on one, all the good characters go on the other. You all just go to make it simpler.
Yeah.
All right. So, Theon, you can see behind you as Aladrin jumps off of a bear and is reaching for his crossbow. What would you like to do? Of course, this large creature is starting to come around somewhat over the ocean.
I think Fiona's in full panic mode, and he just kind of shouts at it, "We don't mean you any harm. Please let us pass. Just we don't want to hurt you, Aldrin. Please drop the crossbow. If we
I don't think
hurt
they're
it,
worried about that, Theon.
We're next to their nest.
And we'll make a good snack for their babies.
Yeah, the best we can hope to do is book it away.
well, I mean, Fiona still wants. That's his message. We don't want to hurt you. Please don't hurt us. We're just passing by. We'll be gone in seconds."
All right. Do you do anything else for your turn?
I'll pull my swords just in case, but I'm not. I'm not making any other action.
Okay. Perfectly fine. Aldrin, Fion's yelling something about whatever, we'll pass, don't attack us, whatever. Crossbow in hand, got this giant birdie. It is starting to swoop clockwise.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Theon, did you climb off of me in your turn?
Yeah.
I didn't hear. Did you?
I mean, honestly, no, I didn't.
No.
I didn't think to.
That's probably a good thing. But anyway, Aldrin, you can see this large, gigantic bird swooping clockwise over the ocean, seeming around towards where you all are. It's still a pretty good distance, but no more. It's within range of your crossbow.
Yeah. I'm going to fire not at it, but close to it to get its attention and start running around the rocks, around the temple, taking the long way around.
Remind me, is it a heavy crossbow or a light crossbow?
Yeah, heavy crossbow.
Okay. This is
You need 2 hands for that.
yes.
Yes.
He's got 2 hands. Anyway,
He's got 2 hands. Sorry.
but this is on the long range, so you can. Are you trying to intentionally miss?
Yeah, it's more of I'm just trying to get its attention.
Okay. Go ahead and roll with disadvantage.
Alright. That would be adding my attack modifier. That would be an 18.
That's with disadvantage?
I'm double checking right now, but I'm pretty sure my attack bonus is it's either 18 or 17.
All right. Roll your damage.
Uh,
I'm just curious what it would have done.
Combat heavy crossbow. Yeah, it would have been a +8. So 18.
Okay.
Jesus. Heavy crossbow damage is 6.
All right. You're not sure if it got its attention. Even if it even noticed.
Mhm.
But it does seem to still be coming around. It seems to be almost entirely unfazed.
My second shot, and then I'm making a very wide arc around the stones.
Now you're going to attempt to make a second shot. Are you also
Yeah,
going to attempt to miss?
Yeah. It's more
Okay.
of I just want to get this thing's attention.
All right. Go ahead and make a dexterity skill check. See if you can properly load this thing for a second shot.
I thought I
In one
got
turn.
the repeating crossbow from the nose.
It
back
wasn't
in,
a full. Was it one of the full repeating crossbows?
I don't know.
Yeah, this was one of those tricky ones where you have you might be able to do it, but I'm not sure if you've got an actual full.
Dexterity check would be a 19.
That's pretty decent. So, still trying to miss?
Yeah, just to get its attention.
Okay, go ahead and roll again.
God, that's high. 21?
All
13
right.
plus 8?
Let's see here. Yeah, it still continues to seem as if it does not notice.
And the damage is
Well,
13.
all right,
Oh.
it would have been 13.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would
no
have been
need,
13.
because you're completely intentionally and skillfully not shooting it
Yeah.
for some reason. And you're now -2 bolts as they droop into the ocean.
Alright.
Would you like to do anything else with your turn? You're trying to make your way.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a very wide arc around the stones.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Ahead, this giant creature continues to circle around quickly, and it lets out an ear-piercing screech as it sees intruders, basically, and it swoops down low and is beating its wings. It doesn't land, but it gets very low, presumably to just scare everybody as it goes over the heads of Fionn and Lee. Doesn't seem to notice or move towards Aldrin, but it goes right over you guys' heads to scare you, only a couple of feet above. Does anyone have perhaps, or does anyone able to make an opportunity attack that's at, say, a 10-foot range as opposed to a 5-foot range?
If I had my whips, I said I pulled
Yeah,
out my
just sword.
swords.
Yeah. Oh, well. But it passes over you, seemingly trying to scare the crap out of you, and continues to soar in a clockwise motion, moving around the outcropping of this pillar of stone.
It just
Seeming
now occurred to me that doing that stealth check would have been a good place to use my lucky feat.
Ah,
darn, huh? Oh well.
I always forget about that.
That's fine.
Especially when it seems most important.
This occurs to you just as your turn begins. What would you like to do, Mom?
I'm running.
That's fair. Just continuing to run south,
Yes.
perfectly acceptable. You make your charge as you go. Ormus, unburdened by Aladrin, you can see carried around and they're carried away by a beastly transformed Mollymort. You in dire bear form. What would you like to do, Ormus?
I'm kind of waiting and seeing, like, if anything comes toward anybody, that's exactly where I'm going. I'm going to charge, whatever it is.
Holding your turn?
Yeah.
All right.
Keep in mind, you are kind of dumb.
You know, but
Sure.
nothing's in my range right now, so I'm not going to charge and try and swat at something.
Alrighty.
Lee and the remainder of your NPCs, I think, would continue to mush forward on the goat, following the example of Mollymort, trying to just get away. It's probably just defending its neck, which is probably something that Lee would yell.
Probably. I wouldn't be
Yep.
surprised to be held as ground with Aladrin, though.
Mm,
I'd send them
Possibly.
away.
I mean, it's the question of what's more likely to occur. Whether, because if it's just circling overhead, it hasn't attacked you guys yet. You know, you're attacking its home. I think
Yeah.
I think Lee would just try to just get away right now. If it's not attacking, it's not worth attacking. Well, at least I would think that that's what Lee would do, but he's asleep, so you know we don't know.
Yeah.
And Philbin continues to is gonna just follow everyone's guide, not make any attacks, and we'll continue on. So Fionn, this bear beneath you is trampling down the beach, taking you away from the fight. What would you like to do?
I mean, honestly, I don't think there's. I'm not gonna hop off because I feel like the what Fiona would want to do would get the hell out of there. So
Perfectly acceptable. You continue to ride bear and ride hard.
I guess I will. If I can also ready an action in my turn as well as switch my sheath my swords and pull my whips. I doubt I'd be able to ready an action because that would be
You can if you want. You can have it so you can have it trigger an action.
Defend me, Fionn.
well, I guess I'll ready for if it proceeds to chase us and comes within, striking range. I'll strike at it.
Okay. Strike at it with your whips.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Aldrin,
Yes.
you can see Fionn defensively readying his whips while riding away. And the rest of your friends are also riding away, except for Ormus, who's just standing there like a dumb bear. What would you like to do?
Does the creature look like it's getting ready to attack or it's going to attack?
It doesn't look like it's greeting you all. There's no part of it that seems to be happy to see you. It's maybe just defending. Maybe it's ready to attack. It hasn't attacked yet. It's just done a large circle, but for all you know, it could come down and just start ripping into you guys.
You could actually lose your hand.
Yeah. I'm going to start running through the rocks with after Mollymore and the others. And If it comes within reach, I'm gonna hit it with my great axe.
Okay. As you start running along, ready to bash it if it comes after you, you can see it's made its long swoop over the ocean again. It's coming in low, but it looks a little lower than it was before. And against the highest point in the entire party, that also happens to be the smallest and, frankly, the most delicious looking amongst you. The creature attempts to snatch Therdrick right off of Theon's shoulders.
Can Fion try to hold on to him?
Well, we'll get to that in a moment. First, we'll see if he's able to successfully get a hold of Therdrick. Ooh, that's a big number.
Well, if it came into range, wouldn't my ready to attack it go off?
Yes, you will be able to do that. But basically, your ready to action triggers by him doing this.
Gotcha.
So you are able to do that now. This beast has come along and just grabbed with its very long beak Therdrick Shortwick. So you can go ahead and make your full attacks.
Does a 26 hit?
A 26 does, in fact, hit.
I just get the one, right? Because it's a reaction.
It's not actually a reaction. This is your ready to action. This is your turn, basically. Your whole entire action. So as many attacks that you would normally get, you can use right now.
All right.
Yeah, but the way ready to actions work is essentially it's the way I think of it is it's like a mousetrap where you set a particular bait and you've got a particular reaction. So if this thing occurs, then this is the response, and you can use your didn't occur, then it just your action doesn't occur or your response doesn't happen. And if that thing occurs, you can't change your response. So like now you couldn't try to use your action to grab Shortwick because you already prepared to attack.
Second attack would be a 18 plus 7.
That's yeah.
The first one is 4 damage, and the second is 2 damage, 6 total.
Nice. It takes 6 damage. Anything else that goes along with those attacks?
No, because I didn't activate my rights, and I feel like it would be an abuse ready action. Take the bonus action to ready the right.
Yeah, because the bonus action isn't part of the attack. Yeah. So this beast continues to go along, and from its grasp, you can hear the very panicked screaming of this halfling guide as it just rips it off of your shoulder like a chipmunk, just no problem, and continues to beat along. Let's see here. Next up is Mollymort. You, of course, can hear these screams. You heard the attack, and you saw the beast, and it's now flying behind you. What would you like to do?
Sorry, Fion, but I'm gonna dump you off of me now.
That's fine.
And I'm going to turn into a giant eagle and fly after Thedric.
I will add a giant eagle. You don't necessarily have to dump Fion.
That is true.
I feel like it's for the better that I do. I don't think that my water walk is still in effect, and I don't want to dump him into freezing water.
That is a possibility. I'm just throwing it out there. It would be really metal if, you know, the giant bear turned into a flying eagle and just with him still on it. Just saying it would be cool, but I'm not trying to pressure anybody.
I mean,
Okay.
if it helps, Fionn would be completely fine.
Okay, I mean, I'll rear back, turn into a giant eagle, and whether you hold or not on or not is up to
Nice.
you.
I'm assuming you would stay on, Fionn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. All right, Molly, you're able to transform, and with your speed, let's see, giant eagle, 80-foot fly
80-foot
speed.
fly speed.
Yeah, you're much faster than this thing. You're able
Great.
to,
I was worried I wouldn't be.
yeah, you're able to catch up to it very quickly.
And I am going to oh, I guess it takes my full turn to change, I believe. Hold on, let me check that real quick. I forget.
Might take a bonus action.
I always forget.
It is a bonus action for moon druids, action for any other druid, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a moon druid.
But you get your action and movement.
Yeah, it's the whole action. But you're able to catch up to it at least.
Am I able to catch up and, as a bonus action, cling to the thing, the dinosaur? Cling to its legs?
Hmm. Let me see here.
Not attacking, just, I suppose, grappling?
Well, I would more allow it to. Well, in terms of holding its legs, the grapple itself would be a whole other action as well. But I
Yeah,
will
not
grant
really
this.
trying to restrain it, just to hold on to it.
I will grant this though. You could land on its back because grasping onto it is still gets a little because
Alright.
that's not a natural position to be. But you could just do the other, or you could just wait for another turn. I'm just saying landing on its back would be an easy thing, but for you to grapple its
I
leg,
will land on its back, and that will give Fionn a chance to climb off if you want.
mm-hmm. Always a possibility. All
So
right,
then that's my full turn.
indeed. Ormus, you gonna do anything as a bear? You did just see this, eagle transformation and such.
I am hauling ass down there as fast as possible, full 80 feet, trying to tackle this fucking thing out of the air.
I mean, it's like 30 or 40 feet in the air again. Like it just made a big swoop and it's up, and actually almost over the ocean again.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's well out of your reach.
Damn. Well, I'll get as close as I can. That way, if it tries to make another swoop, I can fucking snatch it out of the air and tear it down.
Okay, you as a giant dire bear go to the edge of the water. Do you get close enough for the water to splash up to you, or do you just get close to the edge?
Just close to the edge.
That's fair.
As
Just
as I can with my teammates, because they seem to be the target.
they seem to be doing something. That's for sure.
The airborne ones.
Mm-hmm. Airborne is important. Let's see. I think at this point, definitely Lee would stop the goat, or rather, let the dwarves out and then ride the goat. Or no, I think he would ride the goat back to everyone because then better strength in numbers. Let's see. At this point, though, Philbin can take advantage of the fact that he is a magic doer of sorts and cast out a ray of frost towards this gigantic bird, or this large, basically pterodactyl.
Ray of Frost does not seem like the best attack in this kind of situation.
Well, what are you gonna do? It's his primary cantrip, and he did hit, so that is something, and a plus for sure. It's not significant damage, but it's something. But even then, you as an eagle didn't even notice it. It hit the underside of the wing. You had no clue. But they're back, but they just don't know quite what to do. They're at the shore close to Ormus. Next up is Fionn. You are riding atop of Eagle, which is a giant eagle, which is riding atop a giant pterodactyl that is eating a halfling. What would you like to do? Also, you're flying over the ocean. Well, like just over the ocean, like over the shore.
Two things. I don't know how to say this is what I want to do. I guess I want to lean over and try and lasso the pterodactyl's head and pull, pull it towards the shore. Try and lead it to the shore to force it to land, while hopefully choking it a bit and making it try to drop Phaedric.
Now,
Are you still on me?
yeah, that's one question.
I guess it depends on size comparison. How much bigger is the pterodactyl than Molly?
Torso wise, well, let's see. How big is a giant eagle?
It is a large beast.
It is large. So, by comparison, I'm guessing the giant eagle probably has a wingspan of about 15 feet, and this pterodactyl has a wingspan of about. So, if that gives you some idea of scale, is that it's
Yeah, that's about what I pictured.
yeah, is that Mollymort's about half the size, but still pretty darn big. So this thing's also really big, and on top of that as well, in terms of lassoing this thing, you're going to need a hell of a piece of rope to get it one way. You might be able to. I mean, look at that head.
Well, that's why I was thinking with the I was gonna try and do some Indiana Jones stuff and try and get the whip around it somehow. If I don't have enough whip to do it, then
I I am all for awesome, but maybe kind of tricky to get the whip fully around.
all right.
Maybe if you tied the ends of the whips together and swung one handle under it and caught it, maybe that would be enough. But one whip won't do it. You think you're going to need both whips?
I'll do that then. I don't like us being over the ocean, and also I don't like Phaedric being inside its beak.
Indeed.
Rein it in, Fionn.
Yeah. So go ahead and make a survival check to quickly tie the actual whip, the crack points of your whip together.
Gladly so. That is a 28. Yeah, 28.
28. Okay. No, that's a pretty good knot.
Or I'm sorry, that's a 26. I did my math backwards.
Still pretty good. Let's see. Trying to think. Maybe your normal whip attack, because it's very similar, but it's just slightly different enough that it's a bit unusual. So without your proficiency, but your normal skill bonus.
Okay, cool.
So I'm pretty sure you never done something like this.
That's not great. I think that's a 10.
Yeah, you try to kind of fling it under, and it just doesn't really get anywhere. I think you're gonna need to probably get this thing really spinning in the air to get some momentum and then direct it again. But yeah, that 10, nah, not doing it. And you definitely had to get off of Mollymort to do this.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a moment to get back on Mollymort, or do you want to take further action to really cling on to this thing in case it takes, evasive action?
Yeah, I'm gonna cling on to this because I feel like Theon's top priority right now isn't damaging it or anything. It's getting Thaedric out of its mouth.
Understood. Go ahead and make. There's not a whole lot to hang on, but there is sort of like loose skin and thin feather-like hair, and in a sense like a fur to it. Go ahead and make a strength check just to try and give me an idea of how hard you're holding on. It's akin to a grapple.
That's 11.
Better than nothing. Let's hope it doesn't know how to fly upside down. So,
Yeah.
would you like to do anything else with your turn?
Nah. That's all I got this turn.
All right. Aldrin, you're still close up against the rocks, if I recall.
Yeah, I'm running through.
Indeed. What
How
would you
far
like to
away
do?
is this thing?
This thing looks to be, in terms of over the water, maybe 20 feet over the water right now, and about 30 to 40 feet up in the air. And it looks like it's still going in this clockwise swoop, this big long circle arc.
I'm going to shout to Molly, catch him! And then I'm gonna cast magic missile on the ankles of the bird where it's holding Deirdric.
Is it
Nice.
holding it with its legs or its beak?
Beak.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that's why
he's
I
in
was.
the beak.
That's
Oh,
why I was trying to cling to its legs because I thought it was in its feet too.
then I will shoot the magic missiles into his eyes.
Cool. All right. Well, roll your damage.
Alright, it's not gonna be a lot.
Magic
3
missile
plus
always
1 is
hits.
4. 5 is 9. Plus 4 again is 13.
13 is pretty darn good as these arcane torpedoes smash into its eyes repeatedly. And the immediate reaction is a shuddered scream of panic as it screeches, letting go of Therdrick, which could be seen as a good thing. And it soon begins to roll over and begin to fall dead in towards the ocean. Speaking of, Mollymort, you are still on this creature. You can see and hear that from the screams that Therdrick has been released and is free falling. And Theon, I'm going to give you one more chance to make a strength saving throw to hold on to this thing if you want. Or you can basically kick off of it, but it's going into a death tumble.
How far up are we?
A good 30, 40 feet.
Yeah, I think if I can like my reaction to say so, Theon would scream at Molly, catch Thaedric, I'll be fine, and I'm gonna make an attempt to basically ride this thing like a hang glider down.
All right, I'll let you make a strength saving throw to really hang on to this thing. Or, if you want, because I'll let you do it because I think it would be a cool image. You got the whip, it's already there. I'll let you make one more try with the whip, but if it fails, you're free balling here.
And Fion, I'm squawking back. That was the plan.
Yeah, so Fion, you can try to grab on, or you can try to be wicked with the whips. But oh boy, it's a fun risk. And even if you do grab on, this thing is still plummeting towards the icy cold ocean, so it's not great either way.
Drop my dice. I'm gonna go for that. God damn it! Action movies. Bullshit. Try and.
Hell yeah.
That wasn't incredible. What was it you said? It was like an attack throw without proficiency, basically.
Yeah, your normal attack, but without proficiency. So you still get a skill bonus, but you're not proficient with this tool.
So that would be a 14.
14 is enough. I was looking for a 13. So yeah, you're able to like yell back at Mollymore, "Catch Deirdrick!" and whip this thing around your head and bring it right under and grab onto it. And you think that you're able to, using these holds, just pull as tight as you want to be able to keep yourself steady on the back of um, this plummeting creature. Mollymore, on this back of this creature, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna go for Therdrick, for
Nice.
sure.
You're able to, in your incredibly dexterous and agile and wonderful giant bird form, just release from this creature, speed up past Therdrick, and swoop under him. And his scream goes from a "Ah!" As you catch him, and he's just kind of on your back, clinging as much as he can, just panting. Thank you, thank you.
Then can I try to guide the pterodactyl creature as well? Like grab it with my claws since Therdrick is on my back, and less drag it along, more so just guide it since Theon's
Oh.
also kind of doing that.
I will add that in terms of guidance, this is a couple, maybe almost over. It's a very heavy, big thing that is just plummeting. I mean, it's dead. It's going down. In terms of guidance, it's bigger than you are, and it's dead weight. It's
All right.
probably not going to work too well. You can try, but it's not gonna. You can try, but it's not gonna be easy.
Can I carry Theon as well then?
Let's see here. Giant eagle strength.
I am a large creature. Hold on,
If I
with a
can,
strength of 16.
I can. If we're out of initiative order, I could try to catch Theon. I don't know how high he is.
Let's see. For a large creature, how much do you weigh again, Theon?
385.
That would be a big no. You can grab him, but you will not be able to fly with him. He's a little too heavy. You could
Can she coast with him?
You could maybe, well, not level, but you could just maybe hold him fine if you didn't have Therdrick as well. But the combination of the two, it would weigh you down too much, and you would not quite be able to do it.
Yeah, sorry, Theon. I'll try to guide it a bit, but more than anything, I'm just Therdrick is my top priority right now.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and make. Let's go with. Let's see. The strength is only +3 on this eagle, but you're trying to like grab into it with your talons, right?
Yep.
And I mean, is the goal really to just try to slow it down, or are you trying to keep it from tumbling, or like what? When you say guide it in, what are you really hoping to accomplish?
I'm trying to get it away from above the water.
Oh, you're probably not going to be able to do that. It was flying at about 60 feet per 6 seconds, and it was heading out further into the water, and it was already like 20 feet over the water. Yeah, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to keep it hitting the water.
All right, then I'll trust Theon and I'll go drop Therdrick off, get him out of trouble.
All right. So, Theon, you ever seen? I was about to make a Slim Pickens joke. Have you ever seen Doctor Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and to Love the Bomb?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeehaw! That's kind of what's happening now. What would you like to do as you're riding this tumbling giant beast into the water?
I guess do my best because I know it's gonna hit the water, but do my best to try and like and steer its you know grab some air towards the shore, like try and steer it towards the shore in its spiral as best I
Well,
can.
like I said, its wings have. I mean, it's no longer alive.
Okay. You know what? In
There's
that
no
case,
previous wing.
I'll try and reach
Yeah,
out.
and it's over the water. Without tremendous amounts of magic, I do not foresee any possibility of this thing not smashing into the water.
Do we know if Water Walk is still up?
Water Walk is still up.
Ah,
I'll just ride the
you'll
damn
be
thing down.
fine.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna ride the damn thing down. I still have my whips around its neck, and I'm trying my damnedest to like pull it up to maybe catch some air the best I can. But I know it's not. It's pretty much a futile effort. I'm just trying my
Well,
best to prevent.
As you pull up, it also brings you further down, and there's tension on this thing to keep you somewhat stable. But do you want to ride it all the way in, or do you want to jump off for impact? Or
Yeah, I'll jump off just before impact. I will try and keep my basically I want its corpse. I'm gonna try and keep my whip around it and just kind of just before it impacts jump up a bit, you know.
all right, yeah, his thing it tumbles and tumbles and tumbles. Let's see here. Make a percentage check to get an idea of basically which direction you're facing, or better yet, I will use a D12 and determine it by clock direction, 360 degrees.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, that's not a good sign. That's a little better. And that's not great. So, this bird begins to quickly. It was trying to avoid the attack. Aldrin smashed into it. It veers to its left as it drops everything, but you're able to hold tight onto it as it starts to tumble in. It begins to just kind of go. Well, as they say, ass over tits, so to speak. But basically, it eventually crashes with its head almost fully vertical as it does a full, eventually, a little bit more than like a 270-degree turn before it smashes in, and you're riding it right on top as it collapses into this water and begins to sink below the waves. And go ahead and make a. Let's go with maybe dexterity check or a dexterity saving throw, or an. I'll grant this a dexterity saving throw. No, let's go with an acrobatics check. That seems most applicable, or maybe an athletics, whichever you prefer.
All right.
Basically, it's to avoid breaking your legs.
Yeah. They're the same for me. So.
All right,
That would be 17.
that's pretty darn decent. So as this thing flips around, you're able to hold on to it tight as you cinch even harder around its neck, um, bracing yourself. It does these flips, which is a bit disorienting, I'm sure. But when it finally does hit, you're able to control yourselves due to the power of your whips and just being able to ride it a bit. It does sort of flop over eventually, and it does leave you in this, or rather on this slowly rising up and down ocean as you're again in this, this odd jello-esque surface as you ride above and below. Now, you said you want to try and keep onto its body. Do you want to continue to hold the whips and try to hold its corpse up, or do you want to? I mean, it's sinking. It's going in.
Yeah, I'll call out Aldrin. Aldrin, quick! I need help. I want to haul it up and do my best to pull it up.
All right.
All right. You all have water walk still, at least for now. So you could just go out there and try and haul this thing in. It's surprisingly light for its size, but it's just such. It still just has such dense muscle that it just sank right in.
Yeah. I'll help Theon try and pull it ashore.
Would anyone else like to assist?
I'll definitely help.
If Therdrick is willing to ride me, I'd like nudge my wing at his feet, trying to encourage him to stand on me.
He seems to not want to stand on you. He doesn't seem that adventurous to stand on a giant bird.
I'm not leaving him alone. Sorry, guys.
Is there any way I could make sort of estimate how much that weighs?
Actually, I will leave Therdrick with Lee and his goats.
Well, actually, I was going to have it where Lee was going to, with the water walk, go out and the goat was going to try and grab and drag in too.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead then.
Yeah. So basically, as most of you folk go out and try to grab this thing and drag it in, one, the goat just spends a little too much time bouncing on a wave and lets out a little goat giggle. You might, within Lee's mind, I think he takes a note that he needs to cast Water Walk on his other goat so that it can have fun too, because it just seems unfair that only one gets to experience this. But
Yeah.
I can agree with the sentiment.
yeah, Theon, as you try to hold this thing, it is hundreds of pounds at least, and it's under the water, and it feels like that. Like you can't, as you're holding on to it, you're able to sustain, but you don't think you would be able to lift up, even with it in the water, which you think is taking out a lot of that weight. And you will also notice another problem as you try and pull it out is while you can walk on water, you don't have a lot of traction.
I'll go out and help him.
Yeah. Well,
Water walk's still available.
it is. But even as you're going out with the water walk, again, it's still a bit of an issue of traction, and the waves are still pushing.
Yeah, I've got claws.
But you
Okay.
can't dig into the water.
I mean, like, I don't know if it would help, but I do have powerful build, so I can lift up to, I think it's like 1,050 pounds.
That's pretty darn impressive. And that's probably the only reason why you keep it from fully sinking down and still able to hold your whips. Your whips, by the way, are very much stretched to the extent of their leather.
I'm gonna holler to Fion. Hurry up, we gotta go.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess I want this. I want its hide. I desperately want its hide. I'm not giving up until it seems like it's, hope is lost for it.
Mollymort, are you in bird form or
Yes.
okay? What's your passive perception in bird form?
It would be the same as a
It is
normal one.
14.
Okay. So let's see here. Yeah,
And I'm being protective of Therdrick, by the way, so.
that's fair. From a little bit back from the beach, where there's a little bit more brush and sort of to the other side of the hill, you can hear approaching some almost feels like you ever been around stampeding like buffalo or cow or something similar, large beasts
Mhm.
Yeah, that.
I got a feeling this was one of the babies.
Yeah, you can sense a large beast, or perhaps multiple large beasts that are, perhaps just on the other side of the dune behind. And the rest of you, you're a bit too far out to the water to really detect. But Mollymore can.
I'm gonna holler to Fion that something's coming and nudge, Lee and everybody out into the water.
The rest of you presumably just hear birds call.
Alright. I'm trying to think of a way I can go underwater and, try and pull this thing up. Or
Yeah, I was gonna
push
say
it.
if he could pull it up, I can probably try and
I
fight
mean,
it and pull.
honestly, at this point, I don't think it's. If we have more coming, that thing was hell to fight because why? Let's just ditch it and keep moving as fast as we can to the temple.
Well, I mean, with
Yeah.
all of you, you're doing it, but it's slow going. But you're able to keep it, and you're dragging it further in.
I'm gonna
can-
I'm gonna tell him it's coming by land.
We can just kill another one later overland.
Yeah, like I won't have the time to skin it with something coming, and it's not like if we're having this much trouble and the water's taking way away from it, like we're not going to be able to take it with us. That's
Also, are we kind of at the edge of a cliff rather than a beach?
Well, no, not really. So what it is essentially there's like a large pillar of rock, and this creature seemed to be nesting on some face of it on the front of it, and then from that it's just sandy beach, and then it goes up like a dune to a beach, and from the other side of presumably from the other side of the dune, you're feeling and hearing a couple of thumps, and it's only been a couple of seconds. You think that you maybe have a couple of seconds, as I said before, um, they'll be there. You're just detecting them mere moments ahead because you can hear them.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab Deirdrick and fly him out to the water.
yeah. Let's move it. Let's ditch this thing. Yeah, it's just not worth the trouble. Let's go.
Well, I mean, you guys don't even have time. I mean, it's literally like you get one action. You can look, basically. But yeah. So, do you, Fion, explain to the rest? Drop the beast.
Yeah,
Do you tell them something is coming?
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Like we don't have time. Something's coming. Let's go.
All right. All right. How do the rest of you react? You work pretty hard on this thing. I mean, Algin, that thing's got to have like a bunch of cloaks on it. I mean, look at all that leather.
Yeah.
You almost
I'll-
got it.
I'm tempted to keep going, but I'll drop it and
You think it won't take more than another minute to get this thing out of there, or at least
Yeah,
mostly onto shore and drag it the rest of the way?
from the way these guys are acting, we don't have a minute, so I'm gonna drop it and start booking it
All right. Where do you book it?
southwards. Since we still have water walk up, I'm just running along the ocean.
How much longer should water walk last?
You don't know, but it's
I don't
probably
know.
not going to last too long because you did the last time you crossed the river. You crossed it because you cast it as a ritual when you left. Hang on, I forgot the guy's name. When you cast it as a ritual when you left, and
Jerry, I believe.
no, Larry,
Larry, excuse me, Laurie.
Larry,
It's
Larry.
Elvish.
it's Elvish. Um, but since then, you've been able to double march, um, basically like 4 miles. But you think that I mean, you've got minutes, maybe. It's close, but it is still active at this moment. But it won't be active too much longer. Would you be aware of how much time has passed?
I would.
Okay,
I got the keen mind stat.
that's true. You've got keen mind. Okay. So you have approximately 8 minutes left of water walk.
I will tell Fion we got 8 minutes left.
All right. So are you all just running south? Well, it's more like southeast because it sort of juts out a little bit. Southeast would be running along the shore to the ocean, along the ocean, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Fiona would be trying to cut a diagonal path, like moving outward while also moving towards the shore.
Yeah.
Moving.
I'm carrying Theodric, and I'm keeping an eye out for the temple thing, shrine. What?
All right. Fiam, when you said moving outward,
Oh yeah, no, I meant like moving down the shore, but also towards the shore. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, not along the shore necessarily, but you know, I'm having a hard time
I
explaining
know
what
what
I
you
mean.
mean.
I get you just saying now. You're running out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I took it. The first thing is out to sea, like out, like
Yeah.
away.
No.
Okay. As you make your way running along, Fion, you see it first because you're heading most towards the shore still. These large, beastly heads. One comes over first, followed by another. These big creatures that seem to be dressed in fur, in a sense. They seem to be draped in cloth and strapped with leather. And as they make their way further over, you see that they're probably, 10 feet tall, maybe 15 feet tall. They got sharp teeth and claws in front, and they're standing on two powerful back legs.
So wait, they're humanoid?
No, they are basically like small
T-Rexes.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. Small Tyrannosaurus Rex wrapped in fur and strapped with leather. And on their
Is it
back,
what I saw?
huh?
Is it what I saw?
No, not at all. And on their backs, in saddles, are halflings. And the lead one yells out with a magically empowered voice, "Did you just kill that thing?"
I squawk at it.
I think we'll call that there. We're pretty close to
Yeah.
stop. And you all can explain next week, etc. But yeah. So, cool. Everybody good
Done.
for next week?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Should be.
Should.
Cool. All right. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Have a
Oh,
good
yes.
weekend, guys.